Welcome to JWorld News, and today we are talking about JWorg is going broke. Are they going broke? What's happening? Why are they introducing these monthly membership fees, or these fees that they're getting the elders to collect? Well, let's take a look at this. Let's look a little further and see if we'll pull it up on the screen here. And the first thing I wanted to look at is, do Jehovah's Witnesses practice a tithing? Now, I went right to JehovahsWitness.org, and this is where we go, and we have questions like this. And it says right in the beginning, no. Jehovah's Witnesses do not practice tithing. Our work is financed by voluntary donations. And it says, what is a tithe? And why don't Jehovah's Witnesses practice tithing? Now, as we know, a lot of religions do. I believe the Mormons practice tithing, the Seventh-day Adventist. I believe a lot of religions practice tithing. Well, here in Jehovah's Witness literature, it says a commandment to tithe or contribute a tenth of one's belonging was part of the law given to the ancient nation of Israel. However, the Bible makes it clear that this law, including the commandment to collect tithes, does not apply to Christians. And they quote the scriptures from Hebrews and Colossians. And rather than giving required tithes and offering Jehovah's Witnesses, so rather than giving tithings and offerings, Jehovah's Witnesses imitate early Christians and support their ministry in two ways: by performing their personal ministerial work without pay, and by making voluntary donations, when they can afford it. So it concludes by saying, we thus follow the Bible's direction to Christians. Let each one do just as he has resolved in his heart. Not grudgingly or not under compulsion, not because someone's saying to pay so much a month. We have none of that in Jehovah's Witness religion. Or do we? Now, maybe this has to be rewritten. I don't know. But it does conclude by saying God loves a cheerful giver. So now I went further to look and I plugged in donation boxes. I wanted to see what JWorg says about this. And wow, there's a lot on donating. It's all on donating. Whether there's hurricanes, disasters, there's special boxes that go up. They're even making kids' cartoons, here, this little help others, this little guy here, Caleb and whatever, Sophie, cartoons for the kids, to teach the kids how to empty their piggy banks into the donation box. And this is where they're brainwashing people to donate, but it's voluntary. It's not under compulsion. It's not because anybody's telling you to. Is because you want to give from in your heart. You see, this is what I just read, right? But here there's articles and articles on, and that was only page 1 of how many? 5? I'm going to go to page 2 just to see if it's just a bunch of other stuff. Well, no, here's those kids again. Be generous. The Sophie this time. Little video. All videos on giving. And so this is what... how they talk about giving. So now, question box, are we not donating twice for literature if a donation is made at the time we get literature, and then we put donations received into the field into the contribution boxes designed for the Society's worldwide work? You see, when I was a Jehovah's Witness, we had 3 boxes. There was a literature box, there was a worldwide work box, and there was the congregation box, for utilities and to keep the lights on. So it says no donations that go into the contribution box for the Society's worldwide work are not only for the literature. So maybe they've combined it. Maybe literature is now combined with the worldwide work. Maybe. That's what these articles tend to lead me to. Now, I was reading here in this article, question box, should publishers and pioneers feel obligated to contribute to the Society's worldwide work each time they obtain literature for field service at the Kingdom Hall? Well, this article is about making them feel guilty when you get the literature. So it says, however, some publishers have chosen to make their donations at the time they pick up the literature. See, they're not giving it an option, if you want, if it's voluntary, not out of compulsion. It's just saying they're going to make donations. So some just choose to make it at this time when they pick their literature up. It just looks good. Because literature, remember, is on a voluntary basis. They're not allowed legally to charge for literature. So they want to make it clear that they're not charging for the literature. And that's what they're doing all the way through this stuff, so they can't get taxed on any of the contributions. But we knew as Jehovah's Witnesses that we were contributing to cover the cost of the literature. They printed so many articles. Here it says, many have decided to make a specific donation each week. There again, they're making it like it should be done weekly. And still others set aside amount of time for the worldwide work each month. So monthly, weekly, just as they do for the Kingdom Hall expenses. So you see, the Kingdom Hall expenses are a different account, different contribution box. So here I am, and these elders, they have to read the report off. The secretary gets up once a month and reads the report off. And he talks about the financial situation of the congregation. And some of these congregations have mortgages. I don't know if they have mortgages anymore now that they signed the titles over to the worldwide work. I'm not sure. But it says the bottom line here, whenever it's done, each one has to determine what he or she can personally do in support of the worldwide work. Such giving should be done in an orderly way in accord with how the giver is prospering. So here's what they're saying. If you make more money, you should give more. So if you're prospering more, they're expecting more from you. That's what this article is saying. And when we make such donations, we must have in mind that we are contributing not simply to cover the costs of they're actually putting the cost of the literature here. They could be taxed on this, really. They're saying that we are contributing not simply to cover the cost of producing the literature, but rather to support all facets of the worldwide work. And my words are, including all the legal bills in Pennsylvania, in Australia, in Norway, in Britain, in the Netherlands, and all over the world. The legal bills are just adding up. And that's all part of the worldwide work. So, but it's voluntary. We don't take a tithing. So here it is, when witnessing by telephone, should we explain the donation arrangement? And they're saying no. However, no mention of donations or the donation arrangement should be made when witnessing by telephone, as this could be misinterpreted as a form of telephone solicitation. So that's why they want to get over to the person's home. They want to get them over to the Kingdom Hall. When they're in the Kingdom Hall, then they see all the donation boxes. And the last questions from the readers was, do we have to mention to the householder our willingness to accept a modest donation to the Society's worldwide work each time we call on him? It says no. And I highlight here, it says we can, it's what they're instructing us, or they instructed us. And I was in the organization at this time. And it says we can briefly state that ours is not a commercial work, explaining that we offer our literature to interested ones without charge. And then it says they can also be informed that any who desire to support the worldwide work can make a modest voluntary donation. So you see here, because they changed the laws and made the literature free, it was on a donation basis, but not on a donation for the literature. You can donate for the worldwide work. So when that donation comes in, when I collect that donation from you, I go in and put it in the worldwide work box, which really is the legal fees, paying for the lawyers of all the CSA cases. That's really what the worldwide work is doing right now. So, and how is it doing? Well, we're going to take a look at this here. This is what the worldwide work is doing. This is off of JWorg, and it's paying for new houses for ones like Anthony Morris. He receives a new home. You see, so folks, this money has to come from somewhere, and they call this the religious order of Jehovah's Witnesses. That's what this house is under. It's a religious order, and religious orders are designed for paying for, like, it comes from the Catholics, really. And they had a religious order to look after the priests and the nuns. And so they were all a vow of poverty, but they were looked after until they die. Now, that's not really the way it is in the Jehovah's Witness organization, because we know of a lot of ones that are just kicked out of Bethel, given their pink slips with nothing. And, you can go on and talk to Marcus Vaughn on his channel. He talks all about it. He just came back from work one day and all his belongings were put into his car for him. And his room was locked and he had to leave. No job, no money. He probably had some gas. I don't know. Maybe they gave him a little bit of money, an allowance. They didn't give them much. But he certainly didn't get a new house like Anthony Morris. And aren't we all supposed to be equal in the organization? In Jehovah's organization, the governing body goes on and saying that they live like anybody else in Bethel. They eat like anybody else in Bethel. They live in the same quarters and everything. I call BS on that. I don't believe that. And when Anthony Morris gets a new home, that kind of changes it. It's all under the religious order. You can watch this on right on Avoid JW. They have the video and everything here. And there was actually 2 homes that were purchased under that religious order. We really don't know what the second property was purchased for. But then we wonder, how can they afford all of this? Now, one other thing, again on Avoid JW, is the decline of Jehovah's Witnesses. And we talked about this in our last live. It's a pandemic. And this is continuing. It's not going to change. Here's the chart. I'm going to get off the screen here so you can see this. Now, this chart, when I was in it, it was at its peak. It was 188,000. This is new publishers coming online. Don't confuse that with the amount of people getting baptized. These are new publishers just coming online. And this was 2010. And that's when I started to leave. 2011, 2012, I was out. Right when it went downhill, you see my influence? I left the organization, it went downhill. Just kidding. But that's when I left. Right at the peak, I left and it went downhill, plummeting. It kind of leveled off here. 2014 went down. 2017 leveled off a bit until 2019. The virus came in. It plummeted from 112,000 new publishers to 58,000 at the end of the virus 2020. Well, did they turn that around? Not a chance. Too many apostates out there, too much information. Everyone's online. All the Jehovah's Witnesses are getting educated. They can't bring new people in when they know they're covering up CSA. It's just not going to happen. So what's happened? 2021, it went down from 58,000 to 39,000. And then to 2022, it plummeted to 14,000. And now by 2023, according to this chart, she will be in the red. It will be in the negative. They will be losing, nothing coming. It will be going downhill further. So this is the trend, folks. Because now, if you want to get involved with, and I'm going to come back on the screen here, if you want to get involved with the JW organization, there's fees. And I got this here. This is thanks to Kim and Mikey. This is the August Elders letter, Kim and Mikey. And if you don't know them, you can see them on YouTube. Now, this letter, JW.org, for congregation announcement regarding the resolved monthly donation to the worldwide work, please insert the per publisher total listed below. So it sounds like this has been going on for a while, this per publisher amount that they have to send to the work. So not only is there a worldwide work box, you see, so that contribution box, it doesn't come out of there. Everything that goes into that contribution box for the worldwide work gets sent to the headquarters. Got to cover literature and all that kind of stuff, right? Now, the contribution box over there is for the Kingdom Hall to cover the cleaning, the lights, and everything else. And they read that letter off, and you start doing that math and figuring out how much each of us have to pay. It adds up, right? So now we have our literature. I'm taking all this literature, I'm pioneering, and I got stacks of literature, and no one's given me money for it. So I'm digging out of my pocket to feel like I should pay that literature for but it's supposed to be free, but there's so much information I feel guilty. And I'm pulling my last 20 bucks out to give for literature. And because I used to know what it costed. We used to have to buy it, so there was a cost on it. Now they're saying, okay, congregation elders, we want an additional 10 bucks in the United States. Please insert per publisher. So if I'm in a family and there's 5 people, I've got my wife and I and a couple of kids, 3 kids. There's 5 of us. 5 times 10 is over $50. So I have an extra $50 I feel I'm responsible for to pay the governing body, the society, the worldwide work. I have this literature box when I'm picking up literature for my whole family. They're picking up these Bibles. These Bibles are expensive, and half the time we're giving these things away. But I know they cost money, and I'm reading all this stuff, and it says it costs money, and they want us to put the money in the worldwide work box. And I'm part of the cleaning crew in the Kingdom Hall. I sweep the floors. I know how much toilet paper that they go through. I know how much soap they go through. I know there's a cost. I pay lighting in my own home. I pay lights, and they have expensive lights, and they're always on, and air conditioning's always on. It's costly. So now I feel I have to donate so much to cover the cost of the Kingdom Hall. Now, at the end of the month, it's not free. This is not free, folks. Now, if I'm an elder, and I'm sitting there with the elders and the secretary, and we're looking at our accounts, and we're looking around the Kingdom Hall, and there's a single mom with 2 kids, and there's another single mom with 2 kids. Well, there's a family of, they got 5 kids, and they're really having a tough time, and they're struggling. There's no way those guys can afford $10 a publisher, let alone help with all this other stuff. I know as an elder and these other elders that we have to throw in extra because some of us have jobs. And so now we have to figure out how much extra we're going to have to throw in, because at the end of the month, the society, the worldwide work, they're demanding that we have to dig up 10 bucks per publisher. We have 100 publishers in our congregation. So every month, 10 times 100, let's do the math. Let's get this on the calculator here. And it's right behind my head. So 1075 times 100 publishers is $1,000. So the society's demanding at the $1,000. We know we have to pay the utility companies and the toilet paper and the cleaning materials and the air conditioning and all these things, and we have to repair some of these things. Hopefully the brothers are doing it all for free. We can get a lot of free labor. But we have to pay $1,000 a month now to the organization. So we have a membership fee. There's no way out of it. We can't rob from the society's thing. It's already allocated. We will have to take from the Kingdom Hall box to pay this $1,000 because or we're going to have a separate box at the Kingdom Hall. I don't know. What are we going to do? That's a lot of money. Anyways, folks, it's not free being a Jehovah's Witness. It's not like they say it is. There's tithing. There's costs. And now the governing body is demanding this. Now, could you imagine? Now, it's a little cheaper in other countries, in Anguilla, Antigua, and Barbuda. $9.50, I don't know which XCD means. But I didn't want to do the math. But let's say all over the world, let's take it $5. Let's reduce it to $5. And let's just go, they say they have 8.5 million people. So $5 times, here we go. So $5 times 8.5 million. Let's say they're getting $5 Maybe in some of these countries they're not getting $5. They're going to do the math and figure out what they can squeeze out of people. But let's say they're getting $5 on average, because the US is the biggest, right? And Europe, they're going to ask for lots in Europe. So that works out to $42 million a month. So let's say their magic number is 50 million a month. I think that's their number, 50 million a month. So they're making 50 million a month. They're demanding it. So now the governing body has $50 million a month coming in. That's not enough money. 50 million times 12, even in 12 months, that's only 600 million. And you times that by 2 years, that's only 1.2 billion. You know, the one CSA case in California, and I know it didn't, the Mormon Church didn't get charged 1.2 billion, but it settled for 1.2 billion. One case, one CSA case in California. And the Mormons, they wanted out of it. You know what they did? They said, we're innocent, but here's $1 million. They settled for $1 million right out the gate. And the Crown prosecutors are throwing numbers out like that. There's tens upon tens of thousands of cases to be uncovered yet. And the Catholic Church was first. Now it's the unveiling of the Jehovah's Witnesses. So folks, that's going to bring an end to our little news article on JWorg is going broke. There's new monthly membership fees, and this is going to change the way this whole religion is working. It's no longer a free religion. They can no longer say that you can come to the Kingdom Hall and there's for free. They want money, and they're not afraid to ask you for your money. So there you have it, the rest of the story. So we'll see you next time, folks. And until then, keep living your life with love. Bye for now.